Clickbait, huh? Alright. I guess anything else? I get sued all the time. Y'all, stop it.
New drama tonight involving a controversial politician in the south suburbs. Tiffany Henyard was the only Thornton Township leader to show up for a scheduled...
We've all heard of political drama, but what transpired with Mayor Tiffany Henyard is on a whole new level. Imagine a mayor in the middle of a meeting being asked to do something that is so outrageous and chaotic that it will leave you completely stunned. During a live broadcast, W was arrested after causing complete chaos and having to be removed by force. Yes, you heard that things quickly got out of control and the entire feed had to be shut down. It sounds like a scene from a television show, but it's real life, and it's all happening at his job in Dolton, Illinois.
I don't believe that is legally correct. That's just not the way municipalities operate.
Now, let's get started because this story is so full of drama that you will want to hear every last detail. This is how it all happened. If you have been following the news, you may have noticed that Mayor Tiffany Henyard, who is no stranger to controversy, has been developing a relationship with the village trustees for months. As you are already aware, her relationship with the board has not been easy. There have been frequent disagreements over appointments, decisions, and pretty much everything else. However, this most recent board meeting was a whole new level of conflict.
On questionable spending by a South suburban politician named Tiffany Henyard. But we only knew half the story.
Witnesses described the meeting's atmosphere as electric, with tension evident from the outset, as if everyone in attendance could sense that something dramatic was about to happen. The trustees had convened at the local Park District building, a change made necessary by the constantly increasing numbers that have made Durham's government meetings an event that everyone must see. Legally, the Village Hall cannot hold the masses of people who are eager to seeing the growing drama had become insufficient for the civic turmoil that currently characterizes the political landscape of Dolton. Many locals showed up, some out of genuine concern for the governance of their community and others just because they were interested in the spectacle of controversy and confrontation that seems to accompany every encounter involving Mayor Tiffany Henyard. However, Henyard was not about to meet expectations or follow meeting protocol on this day. Decided to disregard the rules and assert herself with her typical defiance and flair, igniting a new chapter in Dolton's political saga. As the turmoil unfolded, locals were left wondering whether Henyard's leadership style, more akin to that of a reality TV celebrity than a public servant, was still appropriate. Those in attendance watched as tensions between Henyard and the trustees reached a boiling point. Mayor's actions were either a self-serving attempt at power or just another instance of her disregard for the rules of government. In Dolton, a town now known for its political theater, the spectacle highlighted the larger problems. Regarding the real problems it faced, the entertaining Henyard approach made many wonder if such leadership would last in the face of the town's growing difficulties.
But those invoices lead to more questions, and sometimes we don't get answers to those questions. And so it's not about clickbait, it's about just making sure that
Tiffany Henyard took a daring and controversial step by holding her own meeting at the Village Hall instead of the trustees' scheduled meeting at the Park District building. It was almost as if she wanted to remind everyone that she is in charge and would run things her way regardless of what other people thought, but her plan didn't exactly work out as she may have hoped. Only 2 trustees showed up for her impromptu gathering, far less than the number she had anticipated. Henyard was forced to cancel her self-proclaimed session because she was legally required to hold a meeting without a quorum. This was an embarrassing setback for someone trying to assert dominance, but Henyard wasn't going to let the story end there. Determined to make her presence felt, she got into her car and drove to the Park District building where the trustees were holding the official meeting, which had been going smoothly without her. There was nothing less than spectacular. IC Henyard interrupted the meeting by barging in and stealing the show, rendering what had been a productive but uncomfortable adding yet another chapter to the continuing political play that has come to define Dolton's governance. Her sudden entrance ignited a flurry of activity among the trustees and attendants. Henyard's refusal to follow anybody else's guidelines caused the already tense atmosphere to explode into turmoil. Many in the room and the community at large were left wondering whether Dolton's political drama would ever be resolved as the dust settled. The episode highlighted her controversial leadership style, which was marked by disruption and defiance. It also highlighted the widening gap between Henyard and the trustees, with the town's residents caught in the middle of the escalating power struggle.
Temporary restraining order blocking her from making those appointments without approval from
The tension immediately increased to an almost electric charge when Tiffany Henyard entered the room. When she abruptly arrived at the trust meeting, residents who were already frustrated by her antics and controversial leadership responded visibly. It was an unexpected and unwanted guest in what had otherwise been a productive, albeit tense, session, and some attendees, unable to control their annoyance, turned their backs on her. Her arrival was a stark and silent gesture of disapproval that spoke louder than words. Henyard, unfazed and unapologetically theatrical, walked up to the microphone and declared, "I am the mayor of the village of Dolton," as if to reaffirm her authority in a room that was obviously not having it. However, before she could say another word, the crowd erupted in a wall of shouts and alcohol, drowning out her declaration with a wall of sound driven by rage, frustration, and sheer exhaustion from the ongoing political drama that had consumed their community. The uproar was immediate and unrelenting, a visceral reaction from residents who felt disregarded and overburdened by the fallout of Henyard's contentious tenure. Her attempt to take control of the meeting only made matters worse, as participants publicly questioned her presence and intentions. With Henyard at its center, a divisive person whose actions seemed to exacerbate the already enormous gulf between her and the people she claimed to serve, what began as a routine trustees meeting swiftly turned into a disorderly spectacle. The tense and emotionally charged room became Henyard's dramatic entrance, and the hostile reception from the crowd highlighted the extent to which trust had been undermined under her administration, leaving many to question whether reconciliation or resolution was even possible as Dolton continued to grapple with its widening divisions.
The judge issued a temporary restraining order blocking her from making those appointments without approval from trust.
Witnesses describe a scene of complete chaos as Mayor Tiffany Henyard tried to exert control over the tense trustees meeting, only to have her efforts drowned in a sea of shouting, alcohol, and overwhelming public disapproval. Determined to assert her authority, Henyard tried to speak over the commotion, demanding respect and declaring that the meeting was illegal. She loudly declared that her goal was to make important appointments, including appointing a new police chief, but her words were drowned out by the deafening clamor of an audience that was already fed up with what she was doing. The tension in the room was evident as Henyard tried to keep her cool, but the noise, frustration, and outright hostility proved to be too much to handle. She was booed out by the very people she claimed to represent after just 7 minutes because of her overbearing leadership style. Pandemonium ensued when Henyard, clearly incensed at the crowd's rejection, rushed out of the building. The situation went entirely out of control, and chaos broke out as rumors started to circulate that the police, who had been strategically stationed nearby in anticipation of trouble, swiftly intervened to restore order after Henyard, incensed by the public humiliation, allegedly got physical with one of the officials present. This altercation was the culmination of a meeting that started with big stakes and had a spectacular conclusion. Locals were shocked to see Henyard, a divisive figure who had once positioned herself as a beacon of leadership, taken away in handcuffs. Her attempts to regain control of the narrative were dashed by the combined force of public outrage and her own behavior. Deep divisions and growing tensions that have come to define Henyard's contentious tenure were starkly brought to light by the incident's aftermath, which left the town reeling.
The government always does it, is to go and investigate people around her, and that's what they're
doing. The meeting's live stream, which had been showing the entire spectacle, was abruptly cut off as Henyard was arrested. The scene showed the sitting mayor being handcuffed and dragged out of her own meeting, the kind of thing you'd expect in a movie. But this is real life, people. So what exactly caused this dramatic arrest? To fully comprehend it, We need to stand back and observe at the bigger picture because this moment didn't just come out of nowhere. In fact, it's the culmination of months, maybe even years, of tension, chaos, and trite defiance from Henyard. Let's get into the back because trust us, it's a doozy. Tiffany Henyard has been causing waves in Dolton for a long time ever since she took off, as her tenure has been mired by one controversy after another, whether it's clashing with when she appointed a new village manager, village attorney, and police chief without board approval. For instance, she made it clear that she would do things her way, and it irritated many people. That's right, she didn't even bother to get the trustees' approval before making these significant decisions. This is how local government is supposed to operate. The trustees weren't having it, so they took the matter to court. A judge intervened and issued a restraining order, clearly telling Henyard that she couldn't make those appointments without the board's consent. Of course, she didn't listen.
Guys, it's the super mayor, Tiffany Henyard, the people's mayor and people super.
Has a tendency to push boundaries, and the restraining order was just another one of those boundaries she crossed. At one point, there was even discussion of holding her in contempt of court because she continued to disregard the legal system. Her attempts to consolidate her power have made her a lot of enemies in Dolton, and it's not just the trust who are fed up. The residents have had enough. At every turn, it seems like Henyard is more interested in holding on to power than actually working with the people she's supposed to represent, and let's not forget the financial scandals. There have been long-running speculations regarding, allegedly, Henyard misappropriated public cash. There are whispers of lavish spending, questionable taxpayer-funded trips, and a complete lack of transparency when it comes to self as a super mayor. She's tried to pick messages on social media telling her followers to stand with her and claiming that she's fighting against entrenched interests. In one recent post she wrote, "I need all my black sheep to stand with me. You are not alone. If God is for us, then who can be against us?" It's almost like she sees herself as a hero in this story, standing up to a corrupt system out to get her.
The backs of taxpayers. But what do we gain from any of these trips? We gain.
The truth is much more complex than what's happening. Even though Henyard has been able to retain some followers, it's evident that the tide is swinging against her. Her residents are annoyed, her trustees are tired of her power struggles, and even the courts are intervening to stop her. It seems that Henyard is engaged in a never-ending conflict, and it's difficult to predict how she will fare at this point. As part of a broader investigation, the village's finances and the theft of tree sap from Dolton and Thoron Township were examined by the federal government. Investigated the alleged misappropriation of public funds by Henyard, which is not limited to the FBI state level. We're talking about thousands of dollars spent on travel accommodations and who knows what else, all paid for with public funds. It's no wonder the FBI is involved because there's obviously something going on here that doesn't add up, and papers have surfaced that show questionable spending, especially on taxpayer-funded trips that seem to have no clear purpose. Going down, let's return to the fan reactions because, believe us, people have a lot to say about this. One fan commented, "I suppose she will be saying it's only clickbait and fake news when she is in court again, and honestly, that just about sums it up." Henyard has attempted to dismiss these accusations as nothing more than attacks from her enemies, but at this point, it's difficult to ignore the mountain of evidence against her. Another fan also pointed out that she has been a criminal her entire life after being arrested for breaking into cars in 2016. Has a lengthy rep sheet, but we're not sure if that's true or not. It's obvious that Henyard's reputation isn't perfect. She's been in trouble before, and it looks like she's in the middle of it again. What do you think? Will Tiffany Henyard's career end here, or will she find a way to get back on track? Please share your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe for all the latest updates.